Well, the biggest energy consumer in America is doing more to use less. Clean Skies' Dan Goldstein is here with that story. Dan.
Thanks, Susan. You might think the biggest energy hog in the U.S. is the American consumer, or perhaps the oil or the auto industry. It's actually the United States government. And today I caught up with one guy in Washington whose job it is to keep the lights off. When it comes to landlords, there's nobody bigger than Uncle Sam. The federal government owns more than 500,000 buildings in the United States and is the biggest consumer of energy in the country. Last year, taxpayers spent $7 billion to keep the lights on at all those federal buildings, $25 billion on energy altogether.
Knowing how you use energy is the first step in an energy efficient program. You've got to know how you're spending your dollars in terms of energy consumption.
That's where Richard Kidd comes in. He's the program manager for the DOE's Federal Energy Management Program, which finds ways for the federal government to be more efficient. You might say he's the dad of the federal government, telling all those employees to turn the lights off at night.
If the federal employees and the agencies are aware of their energy consumption and the things that they can do to reduce it by just changing some of their practices and habits, you can have huge savings just with that.
And some federal branches are bigger energy hogs than others. Take the Department of Defense. It uses more than half the energy consumed by the feds. That's followed by the U.S. Postal Service and Veteran Affairs, which runs more than 150 hospitals in the U.S. That prompted an executive order by President Obama last October, telling the government to use less gas, nearly a third less by 2020, and use more renewable energy, nearly 8% more by 2012. The order also says federal buildings must be net zero energy users by 2030, and new green construction could be more green for designers like Eaton Corporation, which are busy planning the next generation of building components.
Industry in general, and Eaton is no exception, is moving to provide solutions to those energy efficiency needs. And that comes in the development of information gathering systems to more efficient electrical distribution products and more energy efficient power quality and analysis products and services.
And the stimulus package signed by President Obama in February gives $4.5 billion to the General Services Administration as the agency responsible for those government buildings to convert many of them into so-called high-performance green buildings, along with another $4.2 billion to the Department of Defense, so many great bases can go green as well. Susan.
All right, so we saw some of the biggest culprits, Dan. Which departments or agencies have been the most successful in cutting their energy use?
Well, across the board, Susan, Kidd's office set a goal of 12% reduction last year below 2003 levels, and overall Kidd's office said they managed to get 9%. Now, one of the agencies showing the most progress, Susan, was the Environmental Protection Agency, down 17%, and the only one not to show any improvement, Department of Transportation, up 5% from a year ago.
All right, Dan Goldstein, thank you.